From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may see all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum Hunabku Eva Maya E Maho. Ayum Hunabku Evam Maya E Maho. Ayum Hunabku Evam Maya E Maho.
This is my Wednesday look, my wild Wednesday look. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me for Vegetable Soup for Women. We are on a roll tonight, creating a book for you that will feed, nourish your body, mind, and your finances. And that's why I'm doing a Wednesday show every week to remind you of a book that's coming up, a nourishment that's coming up for the world to read. Now, I just got a review from my good friend Jonathan Blount uh, on the book, and I want to read it to you. And we do have a Facebook page, Vegetable Soup for Women. If you go to Facebook and type in Vegetable Soup for Women, we have a Facebook page where we're going to be announcing when the book is ready to purchase and giving you all kinds of information that are related to nourishment for the soul, for women. But my friend Jonathan Blount wrote a review. He said, this book is of great value. It's really quite a reflection of brilliance. It will up level your value level. Now, if you know Jonathan Blount, who is the founder of Essence Magazine. I've known him for over 20 years now. It's like, I don't know how he's come in and out of my life over the last, he'll be 80 years old in a month. And I sent him some chapters of the book, and that was wrote. He thought it was brilliant. So that's our big review so far. We're getting more reviews in. So stay tuned every Wednesday and go to Facebook. I'm going to put that in the chat, in fact. New Facebook page for Vegetable Soup for Women, where we will be, and that's where we will be announcing the book will be ready for your purchase or review or whatever. So thank you all for tuning in on Wednesday night. I know some people are very busy, but tonight especially, my morning start. Actually, yesterday, this show was created because of something someone said on my Facebook page yesterday. This woman happens to be European, and she posted, isn't it sad what's happened to Charlie Kirk? Has anyone had any experiences like that in their life? Something like that. I mean, have we gotten enough of Charlie Kirk yet? No, because this is a huge lesson. If you haven't realized, a huge spiritual lesson, political lesson. There's so many lessons in this BS that we're seeing about Charlie Kirk. And I want to say, be on the record of college students, with young people. He always was very to the people who would come up to that mic, and he would listen and then give his opinion and share his beliefs. So I have no shade whatsoever for Charlie Kirk. I had so much respect for him. Now, everybody would say we didn't believe it, all his belief, but guess what? He was 31 years old. You take a 31-year-old's beliefs with a grain of salt, but I can respect a good debate. Just like some of the debaters on YouTube. I could watch 3 hours of debating if it's entertaining, if it's educational. So we don't have to. I think we should give Charlie Kirk his credit for being a good debater. 31 years old, though, got to keep that in mind. Now, Mississippi has been in the news this week in not such a good way. Mississippi, the South, we've had a lot of history of slavery and hatred in Mississippi. But as I said, this woman came on my Facebook page and said, has anyone had anything happen to them as bad as what has happened to Charlie Kirk? And I'm like, hey, today in Mississippi, a young man, 22 years old, was found hanging from a tree. And do you know what her comment was back to me is, what should we do? I'm like, okay, this is the beginning of a healthy conversation. She didn't come back and say, well, who cares? Or, hate. She said, what should we do? And tonight, I'm going to tell you what we should do. But what I told her was we need to raise the vibration of Mississippi and anywhere else that has that much hatred in it that a man would be found hanging from a tree. That was my comment to her. I haven't heard back from her. But she was really concerned. What should we do about this young man who was found hanging from a tree? Now, I went out this morning and did a video because I'm up in my TikTok videos, and I was doing a video about the tree, the beautiful tree. And then here we have two stories in Mississippi where human bodies were found hanging from them. You know, I thought, wow. And then I posted the one video a woman made who was very upset about this Mississippi hanging. And I posted her video and I said, what the F? It feels like we're back in the 1940s, 50s, or 60s when you hear a story like that. But we don't have all the details. And as one friend thought, well, maybe he was suicidal. Really? Okay, that's possible, because the other story you're going to hear about was about a homeless man who was found hanging on a tree. So I wanted, in case you've been under a rock or you just haven't been listening to the news, I want to share with you two people who shared their story about Mississippi. Mississippi, Mississippi. Oh my goodness, just the name is so powerful in the energy that comes from that place and the history of that place. It's just phenomenal and memorable. And anyway, I want to share these two perspectives. And if you're here tonight, I'd like to ask you, what should we do? What's your opinion? When you hear stories like this, we all have heard enough about Mr. Kirk for the last week, whenever it happened, the 12th. So I want to know from you, not about Kirk. We can have all varied opinions. People are being canceled for their opinions, but I have nothing but good things to say about the man. And actually, I saw a very interesting Rumble. Oh my goodness, blew me away. This man said he's not even dead. It was just a psyop or something. I'm like, really? I wouldn't put it past them to put a performance like this on for whatever reason that Kirk's not really dead. What are you talking about? But this man had a lot of military experience and blah, 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 blah. So let's just pass the popcorn on the Kirk story and give him his praises of what he's accomplished at 31 years old. Now let's move into Mississippi, because I really want to send some healing tonight to Mississippi and any other place that has two stories in 1 week of human beings hanging from trees. I just don't want to hear that when I'm going around hugging trees and receiving the energy of love and protection and nourishment from these trees. And then we have to hear hangings from the tree. Okay, so here's one perspective of horrific Mississippi. I like this guy's perspective because, first of all, he's Caucasian, and he's just this guy. Two people, Trey Reed and Corey Zucatas, two people found this week in Mississippi. What's going on? Mississippi's going to get in that. We had Utah. We were giving Utah our attention for a while, those who watch the news. Now our attention is on Mississippi, and I think there's some very powerful lessons for us to learn. So take note. This is not very long, and I probably won't play the whole thing. But this guy, Trey Reed, and somebody named Corey Zucatas found hanging from trees in Mississippi. Oh, my love of trees has just been distorted.
Episode of What in the World is Going On. Today's episode is going to revolve around two men hanging from trees in Mississippi. I was initially going to come on and talk about the Trey Reed situation and how there are conflicting reports of lacerations and broken bones, no laceration, no broken bones, no foul play, maybe foul play. I'm seeing so many conflicting reports when it comes to Trey Reed. I don't even know. I don't even know what to think. Maybe there's nothing to it in terms of foul play and a hate crime. But even if that is the case, it's still sad considering that this young man just spoke to his mother on Friday and expressed his excitement for starting college, only for Monday morning to be found unalive in a tree in Mississippi. But then, as I'm getting ready to do that, as stated before, I stumble upon another case of someone unalived in a tree, hanging from a tree in Vicksburg. One took place, I think, in Cleveland, and another one took place in, I believe it's Vicksburg. And this is a white male, 36 years old, Corey Zucatis, not sure how to pronounce the last name. This gentleman was a homeless man. And I don't really know anything about him. No evidence indicating foul play from him. But the circumstances resembling Reed's death, namely both men being suspended from a tree in Mississippi within several hours from one another, has the nation in an uproar. Like I said, I didn't know anything about Mr. Corey until I opened up this article getting ready to speak. But I have to disagree with what this article says about having the nation in an uproar. I know a lot of people on my social media have no idea what I'm talking about when I posted about Trey Reed. This is not being covered to a national degree, or at least it hasn't from what I've seen. I'm going to go on record and say it right here. If Mr. Trey Reed is a victim of a hate crime, there are cameras on that campus. And from what I understand, it took place in an area where there's a blind spot of camera view. That may be true, but you can see who's going to and fro. You can see him going to that location and other people that may be going with him to that location. So there necessarily being an angle or a shot at the place where the scene or the incident took place, that doesn't mean anything. Like, you may not see the act happen, but you can see people going to and from there. So if he and Mr. Reed went there with 3 people, and then you can see 2 people leaving and he's not there, then, I mean, come on now. We can deduce that something happened there. If he walks there by himself and then he never leaves, well, then you got your answer there too. Maybe that's the evidence that the police are talking about. We have evidence to prove that. Okay, maybe that's the case. But if that is the case, then that is still sad for his family. Sad that someone cannot see the light at the end of the darkness, at the end of the tunnel. That would be a sad case indeed. When it comes to Corey, I know nothing about what's going on here. From all I can see is that they just found him.
So this man doesn't know a lot, obviously, except one person was a young college student, 20 some years old, and the other is a homeless person. And they both their life ended hanging from a tree. Now, one of our viewers says suicide is the biggest killer of people under the age of 35 and the biggest killer of men under the age of 50. Well, I know for sure, I don't know about that statistic, but I know for sure that veterans, United States war veterans, commit suicide at a rate of like 21 a day. Okay? So when you think about suicide might be the cause of death, then that means to me that person was at war mentally or physically, just like our veterans who would commit suicide every day. They're mentally at war to take their own life. Now, I have doubts that this young man on the college campus committed suicide. It just doesn't seem logical, especially as he said, there are conflicting reports that he had lacerations on his body. There were signs of struggle, maybe broken bones. Someone said in an earlier Facebook that 2 of his bones were broken. Yeah, it's a little suspicious. But the thing is, we don't always get the full truth from the media. So I always take these messages as just a sign from the universe to ask ourselves, like this woman asked me, what should we do? So here's one more report that I want to share with you, that a young man, a perspective of someone who heard this news and who felt a need to report or share it, basically. He says horrific Mississippi hangings raise questions as mainstream media goes quiet. I think this is it's important to hear what this young man has to say. He's saying mainstream media is quiet about it. Why all this news about from Utah for the last week, and then this news? Why are they quiet? Let's look into this.
Men were found hanging from trees in different parts of the state. The eerie similarity of these tragedies has sparked grief, outrage, and a wave of suspicion that is spreading far beyond the Deep South. And yet, mainstream media and major media organizations have not touched this story. And a lot of people are asking one question: why? Why won't the media cover the story of two men found hanging from a tree in Mississippi, two cases that aren't connected, at least from first glance? About 7 o'clock, campus police discovered the body of a 21-year-old man named Trey Reed. His body was hanging from a tree near the pickleball courts on campus. For a college campus, this was devastating. Students woke up to police cars, sirens, and whispers. The university was supposed to be celebrating its centennial that very week. Instead, all celebrations have been canceled this week. Classes have been suspended. Counseling services were made available immediately. The mood shifted from joy to celebration for the centennial to grief in a matter of hours. University Police Chief Michael Peeler told reporters that, at least at this stage, no evidence of foul play had been discovered. The body was in the hands of the coroner and state investigators. With disbelief, heartbreak, and rage over a story that mainstream media refuses to touch. Trey was a young man full of potential with his whole life ahead of him. He was a son, a friend, a student, and he has gone far too soon. But that's not the whole tragedy that struck Mississippi over the past 24 hours. In Vicksburg, Mississippi, just hours earlier, another body was found yesterday. Around 10:30 that yesterday morning, in a wooded area near the Ameristar Casino Trail, police discovered the body of 36-year-old Corey Zucatis. He, too, had been hanging from a tree. Corey was homeless, and little is known about his final days right now. The Warren County coroner confirmed his death, but has since released few details. Like with Trey, authorities are still investigating this cause of death. But when you look at the bigger picture, timing is chilling. Two men, two very different lives, two completely separate cities, both found hanging in the same state on the same day. That alone has been enough to fuel suspicion, and suspicion is exactly what has erupted across all corners of the internet. Online, people have been quick to draw connections, whether authorities want them to or not. Another among these commentators, many people are asking significant questions as to what happened, why authorities were so quick to say that no foul play was involved, and why isn't mainstream media covering it? For many, the idea that two men could die in such similar ways in a state with such a deeply painful history, and that both could simply be written off as possible suicides, felt unacceptable. And that, folks, is impossible to ignore because Mississippi is a place haunted by the legacy of lynchings. For generations, Black men in particular were targets of racist mobs. Trees became sites of terror, places where families were torn apart and communities were traumatized. Those memories, well, they don't fade, and they don't fade easily. So when modern tragedies look too similar to the horrors of the past, people question, and justifiably so. They protest, they grieve, and they grieve loudly. And many simply do not trust quick conclusions. Now, authorities say there is no immediate threat to the public, but skepticism remains high because for many, the past is not just history, it's a shadow that lingers in the present. For Trey's peers at Delta State University, this loss will cut deeply. They've lost a friend, a classmate, someone who had decades ahead of him. His death has left, I'm sure, classmates and professors stunned and his family heartbroken. And for Corey, a man who lived on the margins of society, the tragedy feels like a double loss. His life ended in obscurity, and now his death is being spoken about quietly, with little outrage, little recognition. His story forgotten. Their death created today, a state where personal trauma collides with communal trauma, a place where history refuses to stay buried. As investigations continue, families mourn in private while the public mourns loudly on social media, demanding answers, not just from local authorities, but from the media that refuses to touch this story. Why? Why won't this story? It's already being felt not just across Mississippi, but across the country, and it is undeniable because two lives have ended, two families have been shattered, and a state is now searching for answers. Right now, the only thing that we know for certain is this: these deaths will not be forgotten, and Mississippi will once again have to confront its past and its present. Right now, we are getting more information with each passing hour into Trey's death and Corey's death. We're going to learn more information over the coming days and weeks to come. But ultimately, it is the job of media to ask questions, to report on these stories, especially when they don't always seem so cut and dry, and to do the investigative work to get to the truth, to calm two communities now that have been struck with tragedies, communities that should have never experienced this tragedy. When we get more information.
So, you've heard two perspectives on these two transitions in Mississippi. There is an underlying and overlaying of spiritual energy message for this report today, these deaths today. I can't put my we're back on. I think we're back. My internet went out for a little while. Strange things. Before internet went crazy. 2 men in Mississippi hanging from a tree in the week of September 16th is a little bit strange. But as we are preparing to distribute this book, Vegetable for Women, I can't help but think about the female energy that's lacking in Mississippi, maybe. That was what was coming to me about these two stories, that the hatred that might have been at play with this college student, I don't believe it was suicidal for this reason, that he had just talked to his mother. He was excited about going to college. And usually people who are depressed don't talk to their mothers about being excited about anything. There's usually a sign. Even though my Four Walls TV wants to talk, 50% of suicides are by hanging. 50 to 60% of suicides are by hanging. That's one possibility. I don't believe that's what's going on in this case. We'll find out. Maybe we'll find out. But let's just look at why this news is coming to our attention. Because as one of the reports show, people are grieving now. They're upset, especially Black folks in Mississippi and the United States, because now we are hate, rampant hate, all in the South mostly, and even sometimes in the North there were hangings or lynchings. So we're being reminded, because of this tragic event, whether it was suicide or not, we're being reminded of a very hateful energy that was present in the South in the United States years ago, and now seems to be surfacing because there are definitely reports of hate groups rising up and stirring up more hate and murder, killing, whatever. So as my Facebook friend asked, what should we do? I'd like to hear, if you're in the audience, not about suicides, but what should we do when we hear something this sad that is causing mixed emotions, mixed reactions? Well, for one, the 8 authors and I have put together a book that brings nourishment, healing, and relief, comfort to our society in the form of vegetable soup for women. And I would like to suggest that this book is not just about the women in your life, but it's about the female energy that needs to be healed and come forth in our country. It would seem to me that any type of lynching would be more male energy than female energy. And then the sadness of a man who would be homeless and decide to take his life by hanging himself on a tree would be more male energy, maybe. But either way, there seems to be a need to nourish the female energy in our society so that we can become more nurturing, more compassionate, and more loving. So tonight, that's what we want to put out, a meditation. We want to do a meditation for not just Mississippi, but for every state in the United States, especially where there is hatred brewing in the woods or in the background. We want to put out do a meditation for all the peoples in this country who are struggling right now, who are suffering, and don't seem to have a grasp on what is important in their life right now. I did a video this week on my channel about the most important question that you need to ask if you're considering going tiny, if you're considering moving into a smaller space, minimalizing your life. And that question, as I brought up, was what are my true needs and wants in this life, in this journey? What do I truly need and want versus wants? Because if you can answer that question honestly, then you can begin to release, let go of the burdens you've been carrying, let go of the backpack that's been holding you down, and then let go of some of the material things that you think you need, but that are weighing you down financially and in debt wise. So if we can ask ourselves tonight, what do we really need versus what do we really want in this life? And I want to play the Kaya meditation and lead us in some affirmations of love, compassion, and comfort for those who are in grieving these two deaths, whether you knew them or not. It's something to consider what is going on in Mississippi, or anywhere for that matter, where two people take their lives by hanging. Now, Four Walls TV was commenting that the suicide rates are up or high. Yes. All over, suicide rates are high, especially again with veterans. My heart goes out to all the veterans who, even from Vietnam, are still sometimes struggling with their mental health and have emotions that are sometimes of anger and hatred because of what they experienced in war. But what we're seeing right now in our country is something of a war going on in the minds of many people who are feeling confused, divided, and who want to take up a weapon and kill someone or hurt someone instead of reaching out in love. So I'm going to put on our Kaya, beautiful South African meditation music to help us go into a place of letting go of any burdens that you don't need or that you've been carrying and that are weighing you down. And then sending love to the family, the friends, the associates of the people we've heard about this week. Now, there may have been many more deaths this week or transitions, but what's coming before us in the media is telling us something about the state of our society. So Kaya, this beautiful, deep African meditation music, invites us to be still and let your thoughts go to all those in Mississippi who are struggling, who are divided, who are having emotions of low vibration. And we want to lift up those emotions tonight in this moment that we're in, to help the people of Mississippi to see the divine purpose and order of things, and to make a choice to respond with more love for self that will raise the vibration of that state and even our country. If we all focus on bringing in more love energy, more forgiveness, and more patience in ourselves, and then let that spread out into all the states and in the United States tonight. Close our eyes for a moment and just send love to the state of Mississippi, all the inhabitants of Mississippi. Bring love, comfort, peace, and forgiveness to Mississippi. Sending love, peace, forgiveness. And let us specifically send love to men who have been presented to us now of transition because of their experience in this journey that led them to be in the position they were in, but who are now in our thoughts. Their families and their families become their friends become and let their friends and families see divine purpose soon in this event, these events, and make the decision to respond with more love for self and more love for their friends and neighbors. Whatever hatred is in their heart, shout all the hatred and unlove from people's hearts. The love of the Creator spread throughout the land of the United States. Love of the Creator with the wisdom of throughout the land. And we send love to the storms that were approaching the United States. We push those storms out away from the United States. Feel, all of us feel, and keep the storms away. Friendship, greatness, comfort to our neighbors. Friendship. Let there be more friendship in Mississippi. More friendship in Mississippi. So the question tonight is, how do you respond to the type of news that we're receiving this week about these two men who were found hanging from a tree? And my suggestion is to respond with stillness first, and the expression and the mental energy of love and friendship and companionship and peace in that land, because there's no peace if this was a foul play, or if this was even with the case of the homeless man. People are depressed a lot lately when they become homeless, so we send love, energy, comfort, and wisdom to help people find the answers and the solution. And the best solution, as my friend Neb Taharka would say, the best solution is evolution. You're evolving when you are hugging trees. Believe me, find yourself hugging trees, you have evolved. Because in 20, 30 years ago, that's not what people did in Mississippi, for sure. But if you begin to recognize the elements of nature are here to protect us, to help us, and to guide us, then you're evolving. So the solution and the answer is to be in the mind of evolving and doing and practicing things that will bring peace to this planet, peace to your community, and coming out of your traditional behavior mindset that has not been able to shift the energy of hate that has been displayed this week to us. We are seeing more and more people who are in confusion, in division. And so the solution is to become more spiritual, more conscious about your nature, your environment, and practice the things that will send the love energy out into the world, into your community, and that will make changes happen. Changes. We need changes in this world. And we need to realize also that the news is not going to give us the truth. So we have to be in a stillness and meditate and ask the universe for truth, not the media. This whole thing that we're seeing in the news every day, Charlie Kirk, we're not getting the truth about this. It's all one big popcorn show. That's my opinion. And I respect Charlie Kirk for his debate skills. That was one thing I admired about the man. So if you don't forget to thumbs up if you have gotten something out of this video. Please share it, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you feel led to send a donation, my Cash App is $ Vieta Robinson. And I'm going to be busy this week on TikTok and on my YouTube channel doing what is fun. I'm having so much fun sharing about my tree journey, my nature journey, my expressions that I'm seeing in nature, new things in nature. Like, oh boy, so many things happening in nature. When you're out there, they speak to you. They speak to you every day. So I encourage all of you to get out more and more before it gets too cold, especially up in the north. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Let's see. I had Four Walls TV joining me tonight. Thank you for your comments. And thank you to all the authors of Vegetable Soup for Women, because this project is really going well. And we are really putting all the final touches on this book. And shout out to Howie, who is doing a lot of editing to make this a perfect just a perfect reading experience for all those who will get a copy of it. Let's see. No. Okay. And I did, again, we have a let me put in the chat, new Facebook page is Vegetable Soup for Women. And when you go there, post your comments, anything that will express your need for this book, first of all, and then any comments relating to nourishing body, mind, and finances. We're going to be collecting all the comments and reviews and adding them to the Facebook page. And then hopefully we're going to have a website soon for the book and the title. Okay. So I think that's it for the night. I didn't want to make this too long, but we did okay, I think. And please share this with friends who are concerned about the news stories. We're going to hear more, probably. Hopefully an autopsy will reveal the truth about both of these men that you won't get from the media, but pay attention. And again, just realize that this world, this country is in need of more love, not more hate. And then first love yourself. Be the love. Be the love. Act the love. Work out the love that is needed in these. So, to all my yogi friends out there, namaste, sat nam, and all my brothers and sisters anywhere, everywhere, ashe, ashe, oh, and shalom. We'll be back. Let's see, I'll probably be back. Let's see, Friday morning, I'll be back to bring you health and well-being with Viata. So stay tuned. Let me get, I don't know what happened to my tiny house village. There we go. All right. Shalom.